Hey guys, Redmond Wholesale did their 203K, 203H renovation loan webinar with Frank. How'd it go?
It was awesome, man. We learned how to find these deals and how to get them through their system, and it's a great marketing piece to get going right away on.
What about the 203H? Because that's real big right now.
That actually, guidelines on that are not 100% solidified, but if you do the webinar by clicking this banner over on your right, check out the recorded webinar, you will be notified immediately once it's available to roll out. But it's basically the same thing, but it's specifically for disaster properties that were in a disaster.
And you want to get ahead of the game on this thing, guys. So apparently you can't do them right now per se.
Right.
But you'll be ahead of the game, and once we can do them, then you're going to be first to market. And first to market is big. You can also click right up above if this is on Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is interesting. We're going to kind of ad-lib this one. We've been talking about it all morning. But there's a real estate agent. Her name is Lynn Hicks DeSanto. She's at Keller Williams Real Estate Agent. And she's also a South Dakota state representative. And so she has 2 jobs, right? Now, she just got fired from Keller Williams for posting this. Check it out. Okay, all live splatter. I get it. It's offensive.
Right.
All right, but should she have been fired for it? Now, I want to put this in the context of football this last week. So we saw Donald Trump, who came out and was clearly pandering to his base. He was just clearly pandering to his base when he made his statements about firing all these SOBs or whatever the hell it was. And then we saw a reaction we knew we were going to see from the NFL, where we saw a whole bunch of people kneeling. We also saw the Pittsburgh Steelers, when they came out, they were getting booed by the local fans. I don't know who it was.
Yeah.
So your average fan of an NFL game is going to be really aligned more so with Trump, I would think.
Pro-America.
Right? So the NFL has their brand, and their audience is more of a pro-Trump group. Do they have a right? Is it a freedom of speech thing, or does the NFL have a right to require their players to stand? Now, the reason I bring this up is in the context of this Lynn DeSantos. So she was fired for posting all live splatter, and the reason for it is because that whole idea, if it's a joke or not, if it's offensive to you or not, I don't know. But what I do know is it does not align with Keller Williams' values or how Keller Williams chooses to be perceived. And because of that, her freedom of speech, per se, was somewhat muted because she ended up losing her job for it.
Right.
How do you feel about the whole thing?
I'm going to side, in this case, I'm going to say, I side with the employer, on this one. And because it's so easy for this employer, Keller Williams, who's spent a lot of money, a lot of time, and a lot of effort on building what's one of the most notable brands in real estate, in the history of real estate.
Sure.
Right? To have that associated to them is just, unacceptable. And unfortunately, you could say that this is her private, personal, kidding around view of the situation. So it's just her freedom of speech. You could say that, right? But unfortunately, she wears a Keller Williams badge, So, again, it's just, in this scenario, I think the employer certainly has the right to do it. I would have done it as the employer, and I would have been like, no hard feelings. I mean, whatever your feelings are, that's great. I just can't have it publicly displayed and somehow tied into me or associated with me. Because I've built a brand that I'm very proud of that I don't agree with. She chose to make it public. Right.
Okay, so it's not like she said this in the confines of her own home. She chose to make this public by posting it on a social site, and so it had a reflection on Keller Williams.
Right.
Then couldn't you say the same thing about you would probably say the same thing about the NFL players. If they're kneeling and it's hurting your brand, then you should just fire all those guys who are kneeling.
I would, I tell you, and I don't want to, whatever your feelings are. But, as an employer, I think you have the right to hire or fire, you know what I mean? And if you are feeling like your brand is being impacted negatively by one of your employees, you can certainly let that employee go. And with the NFL, I would say, I think Jerry Jones stepped up, and it could be fake news, I don't know, but I saw something where he was saying, hey man, if you kneel, you're fired. I don't care if you're a coach, a player, or whatever. But I get it. It's his brand, and it's his brand. That's the point. His brand that he paid for, that he owns. He does not want that associated with his brand. And if he's the one paying the paychecks, he's the boss. What are you going to say?
By the way, if Lynn DeSantis and Keller Williams could rush for 2,000 yards per season, or do the equivalent in real estate, would she have been fired? My thinking is if she was a top producer out there, or maybe I don't know, but if she was a huge producer, they might be less inclined to fire her. I'm not sure. I'd be curious to find out what you guys think about this, and let us know down below.
Yeah.
Now, do me a favor and play nice on this, because everybody, this for some reason is a hot button issue. Okay, but let us know your thoughts about Lynn DeSantis and Keller Williams. Should she or should she not have been fired for posting this? And tell us why. So a friend of mine and a friend of the show, Lisa Anderson, she hit me up on Facebook yesterday and she said, "Hi Brian, I have a super mortgage processor looking for a job near Atlanta. Do you know anyone looking?" Frank, everybody's looking for a super great processor. How many times were you bailed out by a great processor?
Lots of times.
Lots of times.
I totally get it.
Totally get it. Now, if you know Lisa, feel free to hit her up. If you don't, you can just leave us a message down below. If you're in the Atlanta area and you want a fantastic processor, we'll make sure we hook you up with her. This whole football thing, this whole Keller Williams thing, I just think people take stuff just too damn seriously these days. Everyone needs to take a breath.
Well, the thing is once you go public with something, like on a social site or something like that, you're subject to those, what's the consequences, if you will.
But here's the thing. All lives splatter. Stay out of the damn roads. She's not saying she's going to go out or advocating running people over, though I think some people have actually thought about it. She's not advocating that. Everybody knows it. It's a joke. It's a play on words. It's topically relevant right now. I mean, people just need to calm down. Just calm the F down. Everybody is running towards being offended. Everybody wants to be the next most offended person, and everyone just needs to